Alrighty, so first review of 2026, and the first game involving an MLS team in the CONCACAF Champions Cup is in the books. And I gotta say, I'm pretty sure San Diego and their fans probably watched my rankings yesterday, didn't they? I mean, they probably watched my rankings and they definitely took it personally in this game after I picked them the least likely team to be able to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup out of the nine MLS team that is involved. And what's kind of interesting about this game is the fact that if you watch this game, for most part of this game, it was actually a very frustrating night for San Diego, and they were playing the usual game of dominating the possession and certainly had their moments in terms of getting themselves the equalizer after going down 1-0 relatively early in this game, but they just never able to do. And part of that maybe is due to the preseason rust, and that this is the unfortunate thing I've always said about MLS team have to play doing preseason mode in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but especially for San Diego as well, being the first team to do so and playing so early into the season when most team are still in preseason mode. In fact, some team haven't even played their first preseason game as well. But as the old saying goes, eventually you'll get that equalizer, and once you saw San Diego got this equalizer and them getting that second goal, yeah, it's safe to say that they pretty much run away with this one. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Dwyer puts it wide from close range. As expected, San Diego kind of dictate the game. That's kind of the thing we've seen throughout last season, where it doesn't matter who they face. They don't care if it's going to be against one of what was supposed to be a better team in Liga MX. They're just going to dominate possession and control the game from the beginning, and PUMAS was elected to sit back early. Pellegrino would hit it right to Navas before McVeigh hits it over the bar. The shots were 4-0 already for San Diego, but to be fair, most of these chances wasn't really dangerous and none that really troubled Navas. But then in the 11th minute, really completely against the run of play, Pumas scores. It's Robert Morales. He scored from Coco Carrasquilla to give Pumas a 1-0 lead. It was a great cross from the former Houston Dynamo man, but even a better finish from Robert Morales. I mean, just an absolute banger, kind of a bicycle kick, as some people say. I would say it's more of a scissor kick. It's not quite exactly a bicycle kick, but nevertheless, that was the first shot for Pumas, and really the first time they even attack that San Diego defense, and just like that, it's in the back of the net. And in previous time, you would usually see this be a crushing blow for MLS team when they face against the MX's opponent. One thing I've learned lately in some of these games is that just because an MLS team concede first, especially when they're playing at home against a Liga MX team, doesn't usually means it's the end of the world like what we used to be. There's been a lot of determination. I've seen MLS teams to fight back, and San Diego definitely did that, because again, that was really the first shot of the game, and for a long time, Pumas was just stuck on that one shot throughout the entire game. San Diego continued to dominate the possession, but it's clear that they were in preseason mode when it comes to the final third. There was a lot of misplaced passes that I've seen in the first half, something that you usually just don't see. Heck, even Anders Dreyer were not himself in terms of misplacing passes in the first half. That's when you know that this team is trying to shake off that preseason rust, and trying to get themselves back to competitive edge for really their first competitive game in 2026. McVeigh would then lash one wide from long range before Godoy had a shot that was deflected and goes wide in the 25th minute. San Diego continued to mount the pressure, but again, can they finally break this Pumas defensive resistance? It feels like Pumas was kind of playing haram ball for the rest of the day. They were pretty much parking the bus and hope that they can get that 1-0 victory back to Mexico City. Dwyer would then puts it just high from the top of the arc before Pellegrino absolutely misses sitter on the volley. Yeah, that's the Amal Pellegrino that I know of. And this is the thing I've said about San Diego coming into this season, and the lack of nine. The concern thing is that while I know Pellegrino did finish well last season with San Diego, that was, I think, more due to the fact that he finally broke that goal drought, and he definitely found a lot of confidence after that. But at the same time, I also said before, Pellegrino at times can be a very streaky kind of player. And when he has trouble in terms of putting the ball into the back net, as we saw in this game, this might be a little bit concerning for San Diego fans, that he might be back to the reason why the San Jose Earthquakes decided to move on from him, of just kind of being snake bitten in front of goal. But that being said, it just kind of also sums up the first half for San Diego. They just weren't really doing well when it comes to finishing, and not able to break down this Pumas defense and find a lot of opportunity. But I also want to mention the commentator at one point mentioned that he is definitely interested to see how many Pumas away fans kind of took over this game. There was a lot of Pumas fan in this one. He also mentioned the fact that of course he's proud of them making the trip from Mexico City. I'm pretty sure they did not come from Mexico City. I mean, one thing about SoCal is there's a lot of Liga MX fans out there. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Pumas fan in the San Diego area and even in the SoCal area. So I'm not quite surprised that they of course make the trip, but to say that they of course make the trip from Mexico City, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch in my opinion. Maybe there are some Pumas fans that actually make the trip to Mexico City, but I'm pretty sure a lot of them probably are living in the San Diego area and live in the US and most specifically in the SoCal region as well. In the 42nd minute, Ingverson would hit it wide from close. The shots were 10-1 for San Diego up to this point, but the problem is they only had one shot on target. And again, how many times I've said this before, it doesn't matter how many shots you put. You can put a shooting gallery in front of Kaylor Navas, but if you're not making some save and you're not putting it on target, it really doesn't matter. And it's no wonder why San Diego was struggling to finally put the lid off for 2026 in terms of the goal scoring. So we do head to halftime with Pumas having the 1-0 lead, despite the fact that they got outshot 10-1, and the one shot that they had was in the back of the net. But in the second half, Bombito would puts it high on the back post. More of the same in the second half. San Diego continued to dominate possession. Pumas clearly was parking the bus, looking to try to take that crucial away goal back to Mexico. Godoy would then puts it wide from long range, and then Pellegrino was in on goal again. But like I said, when he's not on a streaky run, this is exactly what can happen of him just completely miss the target here. And I immediately wrote, well, it feels like maybe this is kind of one of those nights again for San Diego, isn't it? Who just continue to struggle to shake off the preseason rust off. But to their credit, they eventually did get the equalizer in the 68th minute. And when all things fail in terms of scoring from open play, why not rely on the set piece? As Dua would score his first career goal, not just for San Diego, but actually his first professional career goal as well from Anders Schreier. It was a beautiful cross there from Schreier. Dua was in the right place, right time to meet the header. And just like that, the game was all tied up at one apiece. Godoy would then puts it wide off the deflection, but there was no doubt the momentum was once again with San Diego. They were pushing hard now to try to get the winner. Bombino would then puts it wide from long range before Dryer would puts it right to Navas. It was just unrelentless pressure. You just kind of had a sense as soon as that equalizer happened that bus that Pumas with parking was about to get destroyed, and boy did it get destroyed in the next 10 minutes. It started with the 76th minute when another player scored their first career goal for San Diego as David Vasquez would score from Eisner to make it 2-1 in favor of San Diego. Not long after, Alex Maiton would score to make it 3-1 in this one. And yeah, this is one that Keylor Navas will want to have back. And as legendary as Keylor Navas is going to go down as one, if not the greatest goalkeeper coming from the CONCACAF region, that is definitely one that he would want to have back. I mean, just allowing a juicy rebound there. And that may be also kind of a sign that it is pretty clear that Keylor Navas, this maybe could be his last season. I've seen this before where, when a goalkeeper are into their 40s, which is kind of right near the twilight of their career and started to kind of head to that wash kind of state, it feels like maybe that's kind of the case for Keylor Navas as well. Because if this was a couple of years ago, you would never see Keylor Navas make this kind of mistake of giving up a juicy rebound right into the path of Martin, who made him paid. And just like that, it was 3-1 in favor of San Diego. The floodgates was definitely blown open, and they're not done because in the 86th minute, Bombino would score to make it 4-1. Great to see Luca Bombino got a goal. He definitely deserved it. He was probably the man of the match for San Diego in this one, and really was one of the rare guys on that San Diego attack that looked like he was in mid-season form. But yeah, he scored here to make it 4-1. Just criminal defending from Pumas there, not clearing their lines there. And yeah, it's 4-1 in favor of San Diego. Durante would then puts it right to Sesiega, as that was only Pumas' second shot for us. So about 80 plus minutes into this game, Pumas was basically stuck on one shot. But they got their third shot relatively soon as Angula would hit it right to Sesiega. And this is where if you're San Diego, you got to be careful. I mean, I know you're up 4-1 in this one, but knowing that the away goal rule is still a thing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, which I feel like that's kind of stupid. The fact that it is still there. There's a reason why the UEFA Champions League have gotten rid of it. I feel like they should just get rid of it in the future as well. It's an outdated kind of rule, but still, it is in effect, and this is where if you're San Diego, you do not want to give up another needless away goal because if you do, I mean, it's only a two goal cushion and heading down to Mexico. If you give up two goals and not score a single one of them, or even if it's like a free one game, Pumas will be able to move on into the next round. So yeah, this was very important for San Diego to kind of clamber down and just hold on to this 4-1 lead. There was a huge shout for a penalty for Pumas not given. They actually did a brief check to see whether or not if that was a penalty. It wasn't, and after the check, the referee immediately blow his full time whistle. And yeah, San Diego they take a commanding 4-1 lead heading down to Mexico against Pumas. The shots in this one, it was one-sided. I mean, 22 shots compared to just 4 that Pumas had. 2 shots on goal for the 7 that San Diego has. 11 shots off target compared to 2 that Pumas has. Yeah, most of the 11 shots off target came within the first 67 minutes before San Diego got the equalizer. It was just kind of at that point looked like it was going to be a very frustrating night for San Diego in this one, not able to find their clinical finishing, but finally found it after getting that goal. 4 shots that was blocked with a none that Pumas had, and possession-wise, 73% possession compared to 27 that Pumas has, and I think that's even being generous because I feel like at one point in this game there looked like it was like 100% possession for San Diego. There was at no point in this game Pumas had more than 10 or even 20 seconds of spell on the San Diego have. This is kind of one of the rare sequence where we see an MLS team just absolutely dominating the ball and not even let their opponent a sniff on the opposing end. But it also isn't surprised the fact that it's come from San Diego. This is literally their MO from day one. This is kind of Mikey Vera's tactics. And even though I definitely do maybe question whether or not if that can continue heading into the second season, whether maybe teams can have figured them out with the style that they play. Well, it feels like at least in this game that may not be the case. But yeah, for San Diego, definitely an amazing performance. What a night for MLS team to kick off this competition. I mean, this is a telltale sign of what to become. I mean, I have a feeling MLS team once again might be doing very well in this competition, like what we've seen in previous year. But it's also important to note that as much as I know San Diego will be very proud of this resort, and this, of course, going down as their first official win in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. You got to also remember that this is not over just yet. And if you remember just a couple of years ago when New England beat this Pumas team 3-0 at Gillette Stadium, yeah, the second leg, New England blew that 3-0 lead. They lost 3-0 in that one, end up losing in the PK shootout. So by no means that I think this is necessarily over and that San Diego can't just go to Mexico City and think that, well, yeah, it looks like they're just gonna take it easy on It's always a difficult task when you go down to Mexico, and especially giving up that away goal. That's I think is probably the only negative you can say about San Diego coming out of this game. Where if Pumas does able to score those free goals down in Mexico City, and I don't bet against them of doing it because as I said, MLS team they tend to struggle down in Liga or down in Mexico as well. And I've seen this before where MLS team have a big lead like this, only to just completely throw it away down in Mexico City. San Diego's got to be careful in terms of it. And I also wonder whether or not if San Diego can play the same style that they did against Pumas down in Mexico City. Consider, it's one thing to, of course, dominate possession when you're playing at home. It's much harder to do that when you're on the road, especially in altitude. As well. So I'm very interested to see what kind of game plan Mikey Veras will do. Maybe we'll just kind of stick with the same game plan, but just maybe dial it back a little bit, knowing that this team is still in preseason mode, and when you're in preseason mode and you have to play it in altitude down in Mexico and down in Mexico City, it's not going to be easy to just kind of hold on to the ball the time. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the first official review of 2026. Of course, we'll be back again for the second review next week as well, because again, it is weird with this schedule where for whatever reason only one MLS team is going to be playing for this week and then the next week, and then you got like the second batch of the round one game, which is where the majority of the remaining MLS team is going to be playing in the first round. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of this first leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup first round between San Diego and Pumas. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.